The anxious preoccupied, the empathic archetype, the Sigma personality, the chameleon, whatever you want to call it. It's considered to be the most benign of the insecure attachment styles, maybe the most sensitive, the most healing, bringing to the world some kind of measure of accountability and the ability to absorb other people's wounds and bring peace. That's the impression that we get. I'm going to blow that out of the water today because the truth is that the anxious preoccupied is potentially the most dangerous of all three of the attachment styles. So you might be surprised by what I've just said because I am an anxious preoccupied. At least I was for most of my life until I received a further trauma which threw me into fearful avoidance. But I do associate myself very closely with the anxious preoccupied or the empathic archetype. Now, the reason why I say it's so dangerous is because it's under the covers. Under the surface, we don't see what's going on. All we know is that this person seems to be getting on okay. And they absorb and they put up with and they generally meet other people's needs. And the reason for that is because as a child, they needed to do that to create a safe environment for themselves, to preempt, to redirect, to anticipate other people's needs so they could find safety for themselves. Now, all of those things were self-serving. Now, this flies in the face of empathy. Empathy, by definition, is for others, is to serve others. But the whole pattern that's been produced for themselves as a child was primarily to serve themselves, to give themselves safety. So what do you think that pattern serves then when it's unhealed and it represents itself as an adult? It's selfishness. Now, you understand that as an empath, we will provide for others, we'll always say yes, we'll meet their need. And it's 100% fine, so it seems on the surface. The trouble is that most people don't actually need what they want. What they need is something deeper than that. And true empathy will recognize the truth between what it is that they need and what it is that they're asking for. But an unhealed empath will only provide what is necessary to get what they need themselves. Is this blowing your mind yet? If you're the partner of an anxious preoccupied, you'll be cheering. You'll be going, yes, finally someone's understood how infuriating these people are because I ask for things and then I feel so completely dissatisfied because they give it to me. See, the understanding that an anxious preoccupied only gives to get what they need. What happens then when they get it? They lose interest. You ever seen an anxious preoccupied shut down, pull away, disappear? It's because they've received what it is that they feel like they need. They have no reason to give anymore. Is that the real pattern of an empath? An empath is serving others constantly. And that is absolutely not what we see in an unhealed anxious preoccupied. Now, understanding there's a big difference between empathy and sympathy. Often an unhealed anxious will provide whatever it is that they feel that the other person would need if they were them. That's sympathy, that's projection. A true empath will actually absorb completely what's going on with the other person and understand it without having to bury themselves into the persona. They can observe from the outside and provide what is necessary, not what has been asked for. And when an anxious, preoccupied empath has reached that level where they've reintegrated versions of themselves that they have cut off as a child, versions of themselves that have not had a voice, they can make themselves whole. And then they can stand on the precipice looking in to the entire of the collective unconscious, to all of the people surrounding them, and recognize the need as opposed to the want. That's what our gift is as anxious preoccupieds. To get to that point where we've met our own needs, we're no longer acting from selfishness, and we can provide for the world what we are gifted to do. Understand that we are just as unhealed, although we seem to be the silent of the three insecure attachment styles. We are in fact the most dangerous because we fly under the surface, we get what we want, and we fly away. And we leave that much damage behind because we haven't actually met anyone's need but our own.